afternoon, everyone. My name is Hayley Ross, and today I'm going to tell you about why tipping should be replaced with a minimum wage or a livable hourly wage. Restaurant jobs are no walk in the park. Imagine this. It's 6 p.m. on a Friday, tables are loaded, everyone and their uncle literally are out trying to get a bite to eat at the local pizzeria. You're racing around and there's an hour wait time. Everything is complete chaos. Your table just cashed out and you look down at the bill and see a 10% tip. Tipping plays a unique role in the American food industry because the United States is one of the only countries that allow businesses to offload the burdens of paying workers a fair wage to their customers. And though constructed as a fair way to encourage hospitality and reward good service, some servers' salaries, according to Vince Dixon of Eater, is currently set as low as $2.13, relying the restaurant workers solely on tips for their livelihood. Receiving tips is harmful to the workers financially and emotionally. Tipping should be replaced with a minimum wage or a livable hourly wage because tipping contributes to discrimination, sexual harassment, and the wages are not consistent and predictable. By changing tipping to an hourly wage, millions of workers would not live in poverty and have a safer work environment. I will tell you how changing a tipping to a livable wage will better the lives of these workers. First, racial minorities face discrimination because of tipping. According to Cornell University report entitled Consumer Racial Discrimination in Tipping, a Replication and Extension, some customers let race, gender, and attractiveness impact how much they pay servers. Most dramatically, customers of all races tend to give higher tips to white servers and lower tips to servers of color. An Eater analysis of the U.S. Census and Bureau of Labor Statistics data showed that white servers and bartenders across all restaurant types make more tips than most of their racial groups. Between 2010 and 2016, the median estimated hourly tip for a white server and bartender was $7.06. Latina and Latino workers earned $6.08 an hour in tips. Black front-of-house workers made a median hourly tip of $5.57, and Asians earned a median hourly tip of $4.77. Another form of inequality that would be removed with tipping is the treatment of women in the restaurant business. Women fall victim to sexual harassment because of tipping very often. In an article by Jack Schaffner in Psychology Today entitled 6 Tips to Get Higher Tips, he advises women to make physical contact with customers and wear clothing and accessories to gain tips. Should women have to rely on their looks to make more money? Would you want your daughter working in a restaurant where she was daily objectified and her appearance determined her wages, not her hard work? A restaurant opportunities study entitled The Glass Floor, Sexual Harassment in the Restaurant Industry showed that nearly 80% of female restaurant workers reported experiencing some sort of sexual harassment from customers at work. The food service industry accounts for more sexual harassment filings with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission than any other industry. However, despite the discrepancies in treatment of workers, let me talk to you about wages itself and why you should care about these inequalities. Do you get paid less on days when weather is poor or depending on the day of the week? When it's raining or on a slow holiday, a tipped employee is affected by this and often their pay takes a hit. I remember one day when I was working and there was a horrible thunderstorm and we did not have many customers come in. That day I only made $2 in tips. Imagine someone trying to live off of that their entire lives. In a tip-free restaurant, workers' wages are more consistent and are not affected by arbitrary events. In an article from the Washington Post entitled Tip Distribution Isn't the Problem, Tips Are, it states that servers make more money when they work the weekend dinner shifts. However, the article raises the question as to whether these workers are parents and would want to work over the weekend and would rather be with their families. Restaurant workers with families may struggle to provide for their families or make ends meet for their families. In a tip-free restaurant, workers' wages are more consistent shift to shift. Most restaurants who do not tip provide tipped employees with benefits such as a 401k plan, a generous parental leave plan, English as a secondary language program, paid time off, or health care, which in turn leaves them with little pay and security. All of this shows that tipping is detrimental to restaurant workers emotionally and financially. Now that we see there's a problem, we need to find a solution. We can prevent the unfair treatment of workers and payment of their services happening by changing their salary to a minimum wage or livable hourly wage. An hourly wage would reduce wage theft. According to the Department of Labor wage data, food service industry is one of the biggest violators of the wage and labor laws. In 2016, the department found that the industry owed $39 million in back wages. Not only are certain workers facing unfair treatment, such as racial discrimination, sexual harassment, their livelihoods are at risk because of low wages and inconsistent wages. A consistent minimum hourly wage will be predictable and dependable in the work environment, increasing worker loyalty and happiness. Workers who rely mainly on tips likely need government assistance. According to an economic policy report, 46% of tipped workers and their families rely on public benefits. By removing tipping and replacing it with a minimum wage, we reduce the number of people on government assistance and stimulate the economy. Additionally, removing tips means that the responsibility to compensate is fully based on a worker's ethic and effort. So pay can become a true reflection of merit and then can determine a path for career growth. All of this shows that there is a plausible solution to the tipping issue in the restaurant industry. Now that we know there is a solution to this problem, why should Americans get involved? The United States does not want to mistreat and perpetuate discriminatory actions and poverty. We can prevent this mistreatment from happening. It will be a long process, but in the long run, it is a moral thing to do and can in the long term also stimulate the economy. Now, what can we as Americans do to implement this process? Tipping creates problems for workers in the restaurant industry. Some of these problems are as drastic as poverty, racism, and sexual harassment. Changing tipping to a minimum wage or a livable hourly wage would not only create better conditions for workers, but stimulate the economy. Write your congressperson to encourage them to change labor laws. In the meantime, when you go to a restaurant, tip between 15 and 20% to ensure that workers are receiving the wages that they deserve. A good rule to follow, as I did in this visual, shows that if you take the total bill, move a decimal point over one to the left, and then multiply that new total by 2, that's a good measure of knowing what to tip a worker in the service industry. By doing this, you are helping the workers be compensated for what they deserve and have a stable work environment. Removing tipping is the key, and now you can empathize and understand the struggles of workers serving you on those chaotic Friday nights or any day of the week.